right now at 10.
Tonight's the night for that new curfew to keep people off the roads. What are the rules and what's the criticism?
I think this is a little overkill.
Please do not gather or sit on the beach.
Look out for talking drones along Oahu and Maui shorelines this weekend.
We expect there will be many more cases.
More coronavirus deaths as the health department triples its staff to deal with the outbreak. Plus, a new tool to track arrivals under quarantine. And
do not come to Hawaii. Be considerate of our residents.
More visitors get sent back home.
From across the islands on KGMB and KHNL, this is your source for breaking news. Hawaii News Now at 10.
How we start tonight with a live look at an empty Waikiki, where a nightly curfew starts at 11 o'clock tonight here on Oahu and on Maui. The streets have already been mostly empty, but now police have the authority to stop anyone out who isn't conducting essential business. Well, some are arguing over whether a curfew is necessary or even legal. Either way, if police stop you, there's a chance you could be fined or even jailed. Keahi Tucker is in Kalihi tonight with what you need to know.
We're now less than an hour from the start of that new 3-night curfew on Oahu and Maui. Lately, there's not much to do after 11 o'clock anyway, and now there are new rules in every county to get people to stay home.
Please do not go to anyone's house or have anyone over to yours.
From 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, heading to an essential job is okay. So is getting medical care. But just about anything else could get you a $5,000 citation or jail. Maui police will be conducting roving checkpoints. Honolulu police will be out in force.
I would assume that they're going to be watching and they're going to ask people perhaps to pull over and just ask them, where are you going?
Several lawyers tell us the curfew is legal, but they question whether it's really necessary.
It seems a little late in the game to be imposing this kind of action with such little benefit to it.
It would help in people's acceptance of these things that infringe on our freedoms if we could understand why they're necessary.
Kauai County has had an overnight curfew for weeks now. Tomorrow, the county will close all golf courses until further notice. The links were packed today with golfers getting their final rounds. On the Big Island, where visitors have been disobeying the 14-day quarantine, the county says all vacation rentals, B&Bs, and timeshares must close. And on Maui and Oahu, a new voice from above will warn people at popular gathering spots.
Please do not gather or sit on the beach. Water activities are permitted, but please leave immediately after.
Honolulu firefighters plan to fly the drones over Lanikai, Sandy Beach, and Waikiki for the next 3 days. And at night, this is what they want to see. Empty streets, giving the virus nowhere to spread. The new curfew is a pilot project. No word yet if it will continue. But frankly, most of us will be sleeping through the entire thing. The sun rises just after 6 these days, and so you'll have all day to go exercise and shop for groceries. Just make sure you keep that 6-foot buffer zone. In Kalihi, I'm Keahi Tucker, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Keahi. The death toll from coronavirus in Hawaii climbs to 8 with the 2 coronavirus-related deaths reported today. 43 remain hospitalized while 284 people have recovered from the illness. The state's 7th death is an older Honolulu woman who was hospitalized. Hawaii's 8th death is an elderly man who was hospitalized at Maui Memorial Medical Center in the chronic care unit.
This is only going to get harder. We all feel the increasing number of positive cases, the numbers of residents lost, and the impact it is having on our community.
But there is some good news from the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation. Their latest model shows the amount of deaths predicted from the virus is down than what was previously predicted. 101 total deaths with the peak of 6 deaths per day by April 17th. Just last week, that same model predicted 370 total deaths in the islands. Well, among the 23 new cases is Kauai's first community spread case of COVID-19. COVID-19. Mayor Derek Kawakami says that the other 18 cases on the island have all been determined to be travel-related. Meantime, visitors continue to arrive in the islands. Yesterday, 663 people arrived, including 107 visitors. There's been a debate over just how effective is the state's mandatory 14-day quarantine. Well, today officials unveiled a new system marketed as a tracking program, but as our Chelsea Davis found out, it doesn't actually track travelers. Chelsea?
Yeah, that's right, Steph. Instead of filling out paper forms, travelers will now go online to fill out those forms. That's after state officials admitted earlier this week that most arrivals were not adhering to the quarantine rules and there was no real way to track them.
Rather than paper forms, Hawaii travelers are now required to register themselves online. The website, safetravels.hawaii.gov, explains what the order for self-quarantine looks like and the penalties you could face if it's not followed. The traveler fills out the application that includes information about themselves, their travel plans, and where they will be doing their self-quarantine.
Thereafter, on a daily basis, the traveler is expected to check in on this application. We'll send them an email reminder indicating that they need to check in on the application to indicate that to attest that they've self-quarantined in the location identified on the application.
It does not continuously track people, which means it will not be able to monitor if a visitor breaks the quarantine.
Right now, due to civil liberties concerns raised by our AGs, and we're still looking into options with this, the application only asks for your location services when you initially submit your registration. Thereafter, on the 14-day check-ins, it does not re-ask or recapture your information.
If they don't have the funds to quarantine for 14 days, they can either be arrested or fly back home. The state has already sent 9 people back this week.
What troubles me as the person in charge of the flight assistance program right now is that I have had several visitors say to me, the reason we're coming to Hawaii right now is that the flights are cheap and so are the hotel rooms.
We were happy to take advantage of the good price of the flight and the hotel.
$197 round trip per person.
Crazy. They should really be thinking about this is COVID-19 quarantine time. Do not come to Hawaii. Be considerate of our residents.
The website also asks questions about the traveler's health during those 14 days. And if a traveler does not have internet access or refuses to use the web application, they will then be required to fill out those paper forms. Chelsea Davis, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you very much, Chelsea. Hawaii's largest hotel, Waikiki's Hilton Hawaiian Village, will temporarily close starting Monday. A spokesperson says they're notifying guests and transferring any existing reservations to other properties. The hotel employs at least 1,700 unionized workers. In a statement, Local 5 says they will continue supporting laid-off workers with unemployment and connecting them to other resources and to maintain health care. A representative for Hilton says they are committed to fully restoring operations. While neither organization could confirm how many workers were furloughed or laid off. 19 employees at Maui Memorial Medical Center have now tested positive for COVID-19. The Department of Health calls it a serious outbreak. Some Oahu nurses are now on the Valley Isle to help out with the hospital's cancer ward. Our Mahealani Richardson reports.
The hospital says 3 additional employees and 1 patient were confirmed as having COVID-19, but they're in good condition and in isolation. Now, the health department director says of particular concern is a Maui Memorial employee who was sick and working for an extended period of time. State officials say an elderly male patient who died was in the chronic care unit, and there's a positive patient in that same unit. Tonight, the health director says 2 wards are affected by the outbreak, the chronic care unit and the pediatric telemetry unit. But we also know, according to a nurses union executive, the oncology or cancer unit was shut down for 2 days, yesterday and the day before. The health director says the outbreak was partly caused by travel-related cases and an employee who was working while sick.
There was at least 1 employee at Maui Memorial who was sick at work for an extended period of time who was later found positive for COVID-19. It's critically important that workers not be allowed to work on the wards or anywhere else. If you're sick, you should stay home, and employers should insist that people stay home. That's where most of the problems here have occurred.
Now this morning, 5 oncology nurses from Kaiser Moanalua flew from Honolulu to Kahului to start helping patients in the cancer unit at Maui Memorial, and they expect to be there for 2 weeks. Now, the health director says 2 pallets of equipment were shipped to Maui Memorial and says the hospital has done a great job in the last couple of weeks in improving infection control procedures, while the hospital says it has always followed CDC guidelines. Meanwhile, the hospital has tested 126 patients, caregivers, and physicians. Mahea Lani Richardson, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Mahea. More than a month after the governor declared an emergency over the pandemic, the health department is looking to triple its staff dealing with the virus. State epidemiologist Sarah Park leads the effort to monitor people in isolation and find those with close contacts. Her unit includes about 30 volunteers and only 20 professional staff. Lawmakers want to know why the department took so long to ask for more resources.
Ask for it much sooner, knowing that we're in this current situation. That could help expedite a lot of the things that are being stalled. Especially when you're talking about contact tracing, you're just calling people.
The legislature offered to provide up to 40 staffers to help the administration deal with the pandemic, but the governor rejected the offer, citing privacy laws dealing with health records.
We're going to keep the staff who are in the call center, operating the call center.
New changes at the state unemployment office to take on the flood of jobless claims. Plus,
the Aloha spirit is alive and well, and we love it.
An outpouring for medical workers at Hawaii's largest hospital. And Lanai ramps up screenings to keep the island free of the coronavirus when Hawaii's most watched news continues. Hey, Jen.
Happy Aloha Friday, everyone. Coming up next in weather, we're going to be tracking a shift in the winds, but one more day of muggy conditions. Your weekend forecast is coming up soon.